Good evening, customers of Knowhere Games and Comics. It's me, Matthias, here with our weekly live stream of all the comics that are about to be on Final Order Cutoff this Monday. If you're not familiar with Final Order Cutoff is something that we retailers deal with every Monday in a comic book shop, where we have to finalize our orders for comics 3 weeks out, so that way we can hear the echoing version of this on the far end of the store from customers watching both on... All right, let's try that again. So Final Order Cutoff is what we retailers do every Monday, finalizing our orders 3 weeks before their actual release, so that way publishers can get these things to print and print the numbers that are required for us to meet all our orders. It is the perfect time for you customers to place your finalized orders, so that way we can guarantee you get any specific covers you're looking for or any quantity that you might be after. So thank you all for watching this. You can follow along on previewsworld.com/finalordersdue to see all the books that are on Final Order Cutoff on Monday. Choose the covers you want, any quantities you want, and tell us here in the comments. Call us, swing by and write or give us an update on what it is you're looking for, and we will make sure you get those titles. I am here, as always, joined by the great Richard Punisher Robello. And that's about his level of communication right now after his big outburst against John Romita Jr.
I am not a pro.
So, that being said, Richard's going to, reveal himself a little bit more for this bit of the presentation, if he can figure out how a War Machine
this
helmet
snaps,
works.
right?
You're just nowhere near it. There you go. Yeah, this is just
screw it.
This is the live stream. Doing it live. All right. Hey,
Can't
Paulino, we got some
anyways.
awesome signed comics for you. Speaking of that, so if any of you guys missed it today, we had a really wonderful guest, Brian Haberlin, in here signing. He did this amazing comic series, Sonata, as well as a brand new series, Marked, that was absolutely amazing. And honestly, it could not have been better. He was such a wonderful guest. I love having Brian out here. Hopefully we will be blessed to have him again, because he is absolutely awesome. If you missed it, don't worry. We got a few leftover signed comics, but you better come quick, because as many copies of the Marked as I ordered, which was something we brought up on Final Order Cutoff, we are almost 100% sold out. One of the things I can bring up today, though, is second printing is coming up on Final Order Cutoff, so you want to get those orders in, because this series is going to blow up, especially as the Marked and Sonata are soon-to-be television series. We had some fun insider information on that we can't talk about on live stream, but I think Richard can tell you really quickly in a non-spoilers thing that it is going to be super exciting.
Actually, I'll just show you some of the books. Mark number 1.
Yeah.
It was actually really good. As always, Haberlin is a great person to be around and talk to. He's very kind and generous with his time. So I actually just going to show you some of the books I bought today and actually had him sign. So the Mark number 1, that's cover A. But I had to sign and do artwork on the back, which is absolutely beautiful and stunning. And he was so kind to do it on each and every single one of mine. So this is the cover B. Sorry, cover B. And the reverse had him draw a tattoo on the artwork there. That was pretty awesome. And then the 1 per store variant,
Which we happen to have a few more than one of, so if you want, give us a heads up. We can get you one of these for a very affordable price.
really stunning artwork here on the front. But I got him to do some stunning artwork on the back, and it's beautiful. Like I said, he's a very kind, generous guy, really cool to talk to. If you're into comic books or into artwork, he's a great man to pick his, he just answers all the questions. And last time he was here, he was actually giving some inspiring, aspiring artists some tips and pointers, which was really cool. Yeah,
and that's one of the cool things. I mean, Brian's actually doing art tutorial books that will be coming out later this year or early next year. I mean, and he actually does watch this live stream on occasion, so you might be able to catch him in the comments and ask him questions. He is an awesome guy. His artwork is brilliant. His stories are amazing. You're definitely going to want to check out the Marked, Sonata, Faster Than Light, Anomaly, all of these great books that he's done. But particularly right now, you want to grab Sonata and Marked before they completely sell out, because we actually had a really great turnout for the sales this week on these new books, and it's insane how many we sold. It was just incredible. I love it.
You definitely missed out if you didn't make it in today, but I believe you got some extra copies signed, so if you just wanted a signed copy, you can come on down and Matthias will hook you up.
And don't miss out on the next signing, because we're going to give you a bit of an advanced tip here. On November 9th, we're going to have David Booher in here, and we will have issue number 6 of Kanto, his series, 2 weeks before you can find it in any other comic shop, just specially for that signing. But no, with that being said, let's talk about Final Order Cutoff. Once again, these comics are due in order by Monday at 8 p.m. So we need you to place your orders by then. You're also going to want to note that these are comics that will be coming out in 3 weeks. So they're not available Monday, unfortunately, but I need your orders by then. These comics will actually be releasing on November 13th, so just 3 weeks out from now. And shall we start?
We have some great books to discuss today, so you definitely want to get your orders in because even the independent books, they're really hot right now, so you don't want to miss out. Definitely get your orders in before it's too late, and then you're sitting there wondering if you can get a reprint or something like that. But with that said, let's get into this.
Yeah. So the first one is actually a really unique one. It's going to be an original hardcover. This is not a simple comic. This is a full hardcover, brand new story, nothing reprinted. It is a Firefly tie-in from the popular Joss Whedon sci-fi series. It is Firefly Sting, an original graphic novel by Delilah Dawson. It focuses on Saffron, who is a very big fan favorite from the TV series. She had a great selling and wonderful story of a one-shot recently. If you don't have it, we still have some issues on the wall. But brand new hardcover for just $20. A full hardcover, brand new story, $20. You can't go wrong. We're going to go big on it, so we want your orders. We want to know who's going to get it.
I have nothing else to add to that. That pretty much sums it up. A fan of the show, but I actually haven't gotten into the comic books myself. But
it's great. It's really like the
being
show
a one shot. It's probably a good jumping on point.
Yeah. The wonderful thing I love about it also is these take place before the Serenity movie, so everyone that you love is still alive.
Wait, they all die? Spoiler alert, jerk.
It's everything. Everyone dies. What was the great pitch that Brian Haberlin had? The comic where everyone dies.
It's just titled "Everyone Dies."
Yeah. We've ruined that potential comic from ever coming out now because we spoiled it all.
Every issue, new characters, they all die.
Yeah. So there was one I got to read recently that will be coming out in 3 weeks. It's a new Matt Kemp book from Boom. It's called Folklords, and this one is super exciting. This is a world of fantasy. Your swords, sorcerer, trolls, magic, all that fun stuff. And a young boy who doesn't quite fit in because he likes technology and dresses in the attire of our world because he's seeing visions of our world. So his quest is now to enter our world and see, this fantasy. I mean, imagine our traditional young kid who's dressed up in Ren Fair garb and all that, who wants to get into the fantasy world in reverse. It looks super exciting. It's fun. I enjoyed the hell out of the opening story. I think you guys will. I mean, did you get a chance? Did I give you a read of that?
Yes, I actually got to take a peek at this one. Before I even got to do that, when I saw the solicit for it, I was intrigued by this story. These stories by it's Boom, right?
Yeah, it's Boom.
Boom have been just knocking it out of the park each time. This one's no different. The artwork's fantastic. It is actually, the artwork is done by Matt Smith, who did Hellboy and the BP. Matt Kint is writing it from Grass Kings. It's really good. They solicited it as Narnia versus Harry Potter, from Narnia to Harry Potter, or Harry Potter meets Narnia.
Yeah.
I don't really get the magic in it yet. Maybe that's where it's going.
Yeah.
Definitely, if you're into Dungeons and Dragons and fantasy, it seems to be right up that alley. It was a lot of fun. I have some theories as to where it's going. I really hope that's what they do, what I picture it as. But even if, the potential in this is endless so far in issue 1. So
I will say this: if you were ever the kid that didn't fit in, or you ever had any sympathy for such kids, this is the comic for you. If you like Dungeons and Dragons or fantasy, Lord of the Rings, this is the book for you. This is just a really great, unique twist on a classic trope of storytelling in reverse. I love it.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this one.
Yeah. So, moving on, let's see what...
Before we go, let's just... the covers, because when you go to Previews World and /Final Orders do, you'll get to see the covers on this. Not only is there a stunning cover A and B, but they just announced just before going into this weekend the Final Order Cutoff variant by Dan Mora.
Yeah, 1 in 25 copies. We'll definitely be getting it, but it's going to be a first come first serve.
Yeah, and his cover is very reminiscent of the. I mean, his artwork is beautiful, and he's doing the. I'm just drawing a total blank on it. We talk it up every week.
Once in Future.
Once in Future, and stunning, beautiful covers on Once in Future. You can tell this is Dan Mora cover. I just don't have enough to drink. And no, this is not my normal Go Juice. This is actually Go Juice. I need to wake back up. But the covers are absolutely stunning. So definitely go on to thepreviewsworld.com and check those out to make sure you get your cover in that the one that you want.
But yeah, that damn war cover, ooh, it's a must-own.
That's my pick.
Yeah, sorry, there is an order one that'll be normal cover price, and there will of course be the final order cutoff, 1 in 25. If you want that, first come, first serve, it'll be $25, so get your order in because it's going to go fast. Moving out of Boom, let's go to Dark Horse. Dark Horse has some surprisingly good releases this week with a new Frozen comic just in time for the upcoming movie, True Treasure. That one looks to be exciting. We're also going to see a return to ElfQuest. But Joe Caramagna is doing a new Frozen comic. The Frozen comics have always been great. All the Disney books, it's everything you want. It's great for all ages. If you're a Disney fanatic, you need to own it. Artwork is absolutely brilliant. Studio Kawaii does some beautiful covers on that. ElfQuest,
Excited to the return of ElfQuest.
Wendy and Richard Pini still doing this, what is it, like 40 years later?
Yep.
Yeah, they're still on this book. Stargazers, brand new miniseries. They're not doing the art on this, surprisingly. It's Sonny Strait who will be doing interiors on this.
Still looks great, though, and if you are not familiar with ElfQuest, this is a great, probably jumping on point, because it is going to be a miniseries, 6 issues. So it's a good way to, dip your toes into the water and see if you like ElfQuest. But looking at the solicits this week in FOC, there's a lot of fantasy. So if you're into fantasy and Dungeons and Dragons and Lord of the Rings, this is going to be a good week for you.
Yeah, D&D is the new
cool thing.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, we were just discussing that earlier, how when we were kids we got picked on for that, and now it's like super cool.
Yeah, it's nice though. I mean, but these kids these days, they don't understand the pain we had to deal with.
Now I'm old and I get picked on by the cool kids. I can't win.
So moving on to DC, we're going to start off with one of Richard's favorite things, the dollar comics, because you can't go wrong with a comic book, especially a good comic book for $1. DC is joining the companies that are putting these reprints out. This reprint that will be coming out in 3 weeks is Blackest Night, one of the greatest Green Lantern stories you've ever read. It's Green Lanterns versus zombies, basically, with the Black Lantern rings. Written by Jeff Johns, art by, I believe that was Ivan Reyes who did that one. Ivan Reyes. It's perfectly timed for the upcoming Tales of the Dark Multiverse Blackest Night, which will be a really cool metal-esque spin-off on it. But you get the first issue for just $1.
$1. Yeah. And I do believe, as I was digging through your back bins, I saw some of these issues in there. So before we do that, let's just skip straight, since we were on the Green Lantern. Yeah. Might as well jump straight to Far Sector. It's a new maxi series that's coming out, Far Sector #1, where we get introduced to a new Green Lantern.
Yeah.
So if you're into first appearances, this one's for you. Just wanted to tie it together. So
yeah, written by N.K. Jemisin, who is the author of the Heritage series and the Broken Earth trilogy. She obviously knows her way around sci-fi. You get Jamal Campbell, who's a brilliant artist doing the interiors, and it's basically a new Earth Lantern that we haven't seen, but has been Lantern for a while, and has spent the past 6 months on the far side of the galaxy, with a slightly busted ring, doing jobs that no other Green Lantern is doing. It's a very unique take. It's a DC Young Animal book, so it's curated by Gerard Way and his line of comics. So it is not your traditional Green Lantern or superhero book, but it should be really interesting. I'm actually kind of hyped. It has me a little excited, like it was like Naomi or something.
Mm-hmm. And DC's kind of been diversifying their newer titles across, their different. I can't even think what that's called. The Young Animal line and the Black Label, things like that. And so it's not just part of the DC universe, but it's been working for them. So it's a first appearance. It's a new Green Lantern, so it is definitely one to not miss, just because it's not part of the main DC.
And big thing, because we've had so many, like white Green Lanterns. It is a black female character, so that's exciting to see. So we're going to see more diversity, not just in what they're writing and doing, but who they're writing and creating.
And speaking of diversifying and going to the DC Black Label, you have the new. This one's actually a solicit. The new Black Label Dollhouse.
Dollhouse Family.
Dollhouse Family. I apologize. Yeah. This is going to be part of the Hill line, the Joe Hill line of horror stories that are really cool.
Yeah, the Hill House.
This looks really creepy. It's about a young girl who inherits or gets a dollhouse, and it actually spins out of. I'm trying to remember the name of the TV series. It's a similar series, but instead of being all upbeat and a happy story, her new family in the dollhouse is kind of obviously going to be dark and morbid and scary. And it reminds me of when I was a kid. I used to see all these horror movies when they would have creepy dolls and things like that. And there's nothing creepier than an old 19th century doll. So I'm really eager to see this. I'm a big horror fan. And then the other thing that they're doing with these that I just recently found out, that in each of the first sets of the Hill House comic books, there's going to be a few pages of another title called, I think it's Sea Dogs?
Yes, Sea Dogs.
Sea Dogs. And each story, so the first 6 are going to have the continuation of that. So if you want to read the entire Sea Dog story, you're going to have to get all 6 of the... I think there's 6. Is it 5 or 6?
I believe it's 6, yeah.
I think it's 6 of the Hill House titles.
Yeah. But yeah, so it looks really interesting. Good horror. It's Mike Carey writing it along with Joe Hill. You got Peter Gross on artwork. And then I have to say, this is one of those ones where if you want a specific cover, you really want to give us a heads up. Jay Onsoletto, who is a brilliant artist. He does a lot of great work with Dynamite. Just did the creepiest, most haunting yet beautiful cover of our female protagonist holding a somewhat devilish man.
That cover looks absolutely, that's just badass. It's really cool. It definitely caught my attention, and it is the card stock, so it's going to be a cool cover. And I apologize. I said TV series. It was actually a children's novel called Dollhouse Family, but it was an uplifting, positive story.
This was
definitely not that. And looking forward to this. Peter Gross, if you're familiar, he's written Lucifer, which is killer. So
and that'll be interesting because we're going to have him on art. So I'm excited on that. And then it's a great looking series. Definitely haunting, horrific thing. Choose your cover. You can find that on previewsworld.com/finalordersdue. So you can take a look alongside with us on this. Let's see. We talked about Far Sector, which looks really exciting and has 3 covers available to you. A lot of it's just continuing DC books that you guys are aware of. Hopefully you're getting your orders in for Ruby and things like that. But there's one big one, another Black Label line title that I'm super excited about. Jeff Lemire's writing. I actually got a PDF sitting at home. I'm going to go home and read, and then I know I'm going to buy a physical copy of. But do you want to announce this one?
Jeff Lemire is actually doing a couple on the FOC. I've noticed that. But this one is Question: The Deaths of Vic Sage. So the question is returned, and we're getting the original Question, Vic Sage, not the 52 universe. So I'm really excited to read this one. If you're not familiar with the character, what's the best way to describe it? He is an investigative reporter
who goes vigilante.
And he covers his face with this bandage that.
It was a gas back in the day,
that released a gas that was supposed to heal people, but actually ended up killing them instead, or something like that. So it's a really cool story. I'm excited to read what they do with this. This one was when they first announced the series of Black Labels. This one was the first one that popped out to me, and I'm definitely adding it to my list.
Yeah, Bill Sienkiewicz actually doing interior artwork is just a huge thing. There's actually Jeff Lemire is not only writing it, but he's doing the covers.
He's doing the cover of cover B. Did he do both?
Yeah,
or cover A and B? Or
double check on that, but
they're both absolutely stunning.
No, Bill Sienkiewicz is definitely doing the alternate cover, and then also now we have a term for this. I can say so. This is going to be in the magazine-sized format that most of the Black Label books, like Harleen, Batman Damned, and Superman Year One, has been in. We now have a term. It is now called the Prestige Plus format. So this will be another Prestige Plus format. We will have these magazine bagged for you. But yeah, I'm super hyped on this. I love the Question. Vic Sage has been, I owned a bunch of old Charlton Vic Sage, stories. I loved when we got, when we had his replacement in the way of Renee. But yeah, having Vic back, this should be interesting. This should be Jeff Lemire's perfect story.
And now that they're going to continue doing the Prestige format, I'm going to have to get a magazine box because nowhere to put them. But not all of the Black Labels are going to be that, because I know that the Hill House lines seem to be they're going to be in normal comic book format. So
no, just a reminder: the Black Label title is now actually just for mature books. It is not specifically a line or guaranteed to be that big name creative team. But yes, this is one of the Black Black Labels that was designed for the big label, the big name creative team. So should be interesting. Let's see how that one comes out. Dynamite's got a lot of fun things as always. Lots of Red Sonja, Vampirella, etc. So make sure you check out the previewsworld.com/Final Orders Due page to see covers. Lots of cover options to choose from. IDW's got some big ones. If you're a fan of the Disney movie, and I think it was a Pixar movie, Big Hero 6, very loosely based on the old Marvel comic series. Big Hero 6 is getting a new comic to tie in with the cartoon series. It's an ongoing series. We have the great artist team from Japan, Gurihiru, doing covers. I'm excited about this. It's going to be, a fun all ages book, but it's something I'm looking forward to reading with my kid. I might also read by myself. It looks cool.
Let's be honest, he's buying it for himself.
Yeah, but it ties in with the upcoming Disney cartoon series. And yeah, Hannah Bloomreich is doing the writing along with Nicoletta Baldari. So it should be a fun one, if you loved it all, that Big Hero 6 movie or the upcoming TV series. New Dungeons and Dragons comic, actually. Jim Zub, the man who actually is the go-to guy for the Dungeons and Dragons crew when they need consultation, is back writing Dungeons and Dragons. This guy is currently writing the awesome Rick and Morty meets Dungeons and Dragons series, but he is going to be writing Dungeons and Dragons Infernal Tides, which will deal with some of the really interesting events that are happening in the Baldur's Gate universe with the recent D&D 5th edition books. Jim Zub is just perfect for these things. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, like I said, if you're into Dungeons and Dragons and fantasy, this is your FOC week. Yeah. And that cover is absolutely, it's just badass.
Oh, yeah, Dunbar always does that. And then if you like the character sheet ones that are actually real 5e character sheets, those are an option too. So you can actually just play with the covers, which is a weird thing to say, but, yeah, it is an option.
I was going to make a comment, but I won't.
Yeah, we're good on that. Then the last big one I have to bring up from IDW is actually not an issue number 1, but we're big fans of Usagi Yojimbo. We love Stan Sakai. I was just talking with Stan's son, Daniel, about this a few days ago. But Usagi Yojimbo number 6 is the 35th anniversary of Usagi Yojimbo. To do something special for that, they're basically redoing the story Usagi Yojimbo first appeared in, which was in Albedo number 2. The first appearance of Usagi Yojimbo was an 8-page story called The Goblin of Achigahara. They're going to redo it now as a 24-page story, completely redo it as a 24-page story for the 35th anniversary, giving you a lot more insight into Usagi and the start of his adventures.
Including the reason why his pilgrimage back home.
Yeah, cool. It's going to lead into the upcoming storyline.
I love Usagi. I was excited when they re-released the new series and everything like that, and just before going live we were discussing this, and Matthias mentioned that this was actually the expansion of that very first issue, and I just got super excited about this one. It's super cool. I actually wish I owned that very first Albedo number 2, but I don't.
Yeah, I wish I could say that too. I have his second and third appearances. But yeah, no, Usagi's awesome. Stan's a great guy. It's going to be an amazing comic. It's a standalone issue, so even if you haven't read 1 through 5, this is the perfect Usagi story to jump into. And it will get you all set up for the new storyline. We're going to order big on this because I think this is going to be a perennial, everyone's going to want this forever story. But yeah, don't miss out because it's going to be a big one. Get it ordered. This is the one you want signed by Stan. This is the one you want to read over and over again. And this is if you've never ever read Usagi Yojimbo, this is the one to jump in on. So, shall we move on to Image?
Image.
You want to talk about Family
Tree?
Yeah. What was your pitch for Family Tree?
Groot is a little girl.
Yeah,
that was my pitch. This is actually kind of what it sounds like to me.
I wouldn't pursue it under that.
Another Jeff Lemire title. So, like I said, Jeff Lemire is all over the place on FOC. We got running themes this week, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
This is when an 8-year-old girl literally begins to transform into a tree, and her family tries to figure out what is going on, and they embark on this adventure across America to try to, I guess, cure her?
Yeah, except there's going to be a lot of people that do not want that to happen, that are there for her head. It gets violent quick, it is horrific, it is Jeff Lemire in that Gideon Falls horror level. You get Phil Hester and Ryan Cody on art. It's going to be interesting.
As I read the solicit, I instantly thought Gideon Falls and how bizarre and twisted that is and how amazing that is, and so that excited me to see this. So It's not really Groot,
Yeah,
but
not
it kind of seems like, right off the bat, off the surface there.
And just a friendly reminder, these are all books that come out November 13th. If you want to get your orders in, we need them in by 8 p.m. Monday, and you can follow along and see all the artwork and everything at previewsworld.com/finalordersdue. So, speaking of which, we also have Gideon Falls that's going to come out that same day. Jeff Lemire's also doing like Hit Girl, so he's just all across the board at Image that week. Your Spawn 301.
Spawn 301, so I can finally read it.
Yeah. Moving on to Marvel, Black Cat's getting an annual, and this one's a little interesting because it's the marriage of Black Cat and Spider-Man. And
Can he keep getting married to people?
I mean,
Does he ever get divorced?
maybe in a polygamous society. I don't know if he's moving.
Sorry, I didn't mean to go off topic there.
But yeah, that one's going to be interesting. Jen McKay continuing the Black Cat series. Beautiful J. Scott Campbell cover. And if you know J. Scott Campbell with his Black Cats, those are always sexy must-own things that blow up. But yeah, like a wedding cover. And it's very reminiscent of the classic Spider-Man annual of the 1980s, which was the wedding of Mary Jane and Peter Parker.
Are those supposed to be Doc Ock's like tentacles or lizard tail? What is that?
That's definitely Doc Ock.
Doc Ock, but he's not. Oh, there he is in the very. He's just beneath him, between his legs. That's weird.
Yeah. There's multiple covers on that one. I think that the J. Scott Campbell's going to be the one to own, but there's a great Todd Knock cover too. So, tell me once again which covers you want, and we'll make sure you get that one. Fallen Angels is the big Marvel one. Like this one should be. I mean, if you guys have been reading The Dawn of X-Men #1 came out this week, and really just, it is just getting better and better. Hickman is not slowing down the train he started in House and Powers, and we get something very unique, I feel, in Fallen Angels. You want to?
Yeah, this seems to be where they, as we know that the series is continuing from House and Powers of 10 and X. And this is kind of seems to be the first issue where there is, some kind of conflict in the mutant world. Psylocke, the Quanon version of Psylocke.
So the actual Asian ninja assassin, Psylocke, as opposed to the mental bit of Psylocke that went off and became Betsy Braddock, who will be Captain Marvel Captain Britain in the upcoming Excalibur.
And if you were paying attention to the True Believer dollar books, that came out, I think, last week.
Yes.
So you could still grab that and catch up and figure out what we're talking about if you don't know. But Psylocke finds herself in a new world of mutant kind, and she's not sure what's going on. A familiar face from her past returns, however, is killed shortly after they return. And so you have Psylocke, Cable, X-23 all joining together on a personal mission to try to solve this, what seems to be like a mystery or the death. And it's a story of vengeance, which is always fun and good.
I mean, it seems more X-Force than X-Force, but, hey, I'm very curious to see where this goes.
I'll take as many X-Force titles as they're willing to do.
Yeah, Brian Hill is going to be doing the art. There's a great Ashley Witter cover that, oh my God, you got to see. You got to go to previewsworld.com/finalordersdue right now and take a look at. And Simon Zudoronsky is doing the interiors on this. It should be a really fun book and heavy action. I can only imagine heavy action.
I'm glad you're pronouncing all the names. I just let him do all the heavy lifting.
Yeah. And if I'm screwing it up, it's purely apologetic. We're going to see later printings if you're missing any of the House or Powers issues or just want alternate covers. Make sure you take a look and get those in. The big one is the hardcover. Now, here's the huge part on the House of X and Powers of 10 hardcover. There's a regular cover. It's beautiful. You can buy that anywhere, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Knowhere, wherever you want. But there's a direct market one, and it is that highly sought after dual cover by Mark Brooks, exclusive to comic shops like Knowhere Games and Comics. That version of the hardcover is going to be the hard one to find, the one that everyone wants. And if you want it, you need to give us your order, because I guarantee you, no matter what I order, it's not going to be enough. So make sure you get your order in for that.
I was just planning on buying them all and selling them to anyone that slacked off.
I mean, it's a good key, yeah.
Mark it up.
Yeah, that's called flipping.
Dirty word in the comic book world.
So Morbius is getting a series, the classic Spider-Man villain. I mean, you want to talk a little on that one?
cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, it's Vita Ayala writing it, who's the same gal who's bringing us Live Wire and so many other amazing books recently.
I love Morbius, as we all know that in the Sony Spider-Man verse that they're going to be doing the Morbius movie with Jared Leto. So there's a reason why you see all these true believers and the reprints and the facsimiles coming about at the right time, because they want to draw that attention either from the movie base into the comic book world and vice versa. Because obviously Morbius has been around a lot longer than a lot of the movie fans have been. The reason I say cautiously optimistic is because this is supposed to be an ongoing, but it seems to be that it never really is for Morbius, unfortunately, because he's such a great character. And in this one, it looks like he's struggling with the idea that he's a vampire and he's finding a cure, or trying to find a cure, and he's really close to doing so. So it'd be very curious to see how they do that. Obviously, I'm gonna guess he doesn't if they're continuing to make it an ongoing series. Otherwise, it'd be a mini-series.
Morbius, Nobel Prize-winning human,
Yeah.
issue 7 onward.
Exactly. And I believe we kind of, I don't know if we skipped one, but based on the facsimiles, isn't there the Blade coming up?
That would be Tomb of Dracula.
Tomb of Dracula. We're not there yet. I'm getting way ahead of myself. I
Yeah.
apologize.
But no, actually, that's on there. First, we want to talk about Punisher Soviet, though. I think that one's going to be a big deal one. It's Garth Ennis coming back to Punisher. Garth Ennis is one of the best writers of Punisher out there, as far as I'm concerned. He's the one who did the great Punisher Max series and so many others. He's doing a miniseries with Jason Burrows, one of his co-artists that worked with him very heavily over at Avatar on some really mature titles over there. But yeah, I'm hyped on this. You want to
And
talk
if you
about?
don't know who Garth Ennis is, and you've watched The Boys on Netflix, that is who created The Boys.
He's also the guy who created Preacher, which is one of the most popular series AMC's ever had. Outside of
You
Walking
know
Dead.
this is going to be good. If you haven't read his earlier run of The Punisher, and you don't know that how good this could potentially be, just know that those two titles, and if you're a fan of those, you're probably going to like this. This one picks up. It's called Punisher Soviet. I think it's a mini-series, right?
Yes,
it's going to be a mini-series.
a 6-issue miniseries. Max rated, so it is a mature series. They can
Absolutely,
they
it
can
better
curse
be,
and
'cause
have blood and have
Garth
sex
Ennis,
and everything.
Punisher, it needs to be adult. Dozen Russian mobsters are dead at Punisher's feet, but he wasn't the one that did it. And if you know anything about Frank Castle, that isn't just he's not gonna let that go. So I am very, very excited about this. I'm a longtime Punisher fan. The only thing that I'm missing from my Punisher collection is that ASM 129. One day it will be mine. So I'm very excited to see this. It's definitely gonna be cool. I was so bummed the Netflix series got canceled because it finally got nice and violent.
Oh, well, hopefully we'll see it come back at Disney. Well, I don't know if we'll see it come back at Disney Plus. But if nothing else, you got the comics now. I mean, Matthew Rosenberg is doing a kick-ass comic for it and right now. But Garth Ennis being back, oh my God, I'm going to pick up every issue and just eat it up. It's amazing.
Yeah. And I'm excited that Marvel's doing kind of like what DC's doing with the Black Label with their Max titles, so it's going to be more adult-oriented.
Yeah, it's nice to see Max come back because I missed the Garth Ennis, Max back when you had him and Townsend doing great artwork that he put out and that stuff. So
Now
here's
we
the big one. Yeah,
get to the Tomb of Dracula, the facsimile. I love these facsimiles because these books, especially something like Tomb of Dracula, where it might have been affordable not too long ago, they obviously announced at Comic-Con here in San Diego that they will be doing a reboot of Blade, or bringing Blade back into the movie world, into the MCU. And this book just blew up. So if you didn't already have it, it's probably out of your reach for most people. This is a great way to buy it and read it. Excellent stories. First appearance of Blade, in case you haven't picked up what I was trying to
Dracula
get
number
to.
10.
Yeah, so I'm excited for this. I've picked up all the facsimiles, not only because they're great reads, but they're cool covers, and it's a great way to actually just keep rereading them with,
without destroying a comic that's several $100s. That's actually about to probably hit 4 figures. I think.
This I think is already in the 4 figures now.
Is it really? Yeah,
I
it
believe
wouldn't
so.
surprise
It
me.
completely went out of range. I know a friend of mine actually was trying to get it, and he had to settle for the second appearance because it was completely out of reach for him.
Dude, yeah, but I mean that was like classic early 1970s. It was Marv Wolfman, just at his best of horror writing. Gene Colan artwork, Gil Kane cover. Like that was a trifecta of 1970s good horror. Like upwards of eventually talking about like House of Secrets with like Len Wein on there. But yeah, I cannot wait for this one. And $3.99 beats the hell out of over a grand.
And the best part is it still has all the ads that originally came in it, so you could still send off for those sea monkeys.
You might not get them, but you can try. By the way, Jason Hauser, thank you so much for watching. Just so you guys know, if you want to pre-order that hardcover, it is a $60 hardcover, but with a pre-order, I will do a little bit of a discount. Swing by, give us a call or message us, and we'll talk on that.
$60 off.
I wish. Yeah. I would love to just completely give away all the money that the store would.
Don't listen to me. I'm not in charge. I can't promise anything.
But hey, I mean, if you want a real deal, Tomb of Dracula number 10 for $4, you can't go wrong. So, all right, and then we're gonna wrap it up with a reminder for Marvel with a reminder that X-Men 2 is only 3 weeks away after the big X-Men number 1.
X-Men 2 is the one I'm excited about. I think this one actually goes all the way back into some of the speculation we got from House of X and Powers of 10. The series continued. This is where I think this is the issue where we're really gonna get into the meat and potatoes of things. They're soliciting as an island full of unspeakable horrors appears on the horizon, and they're trying to keep Krakoa safe. Now, if you've read House of X and Powers of 10, you would realize that you would know that they actually did an origin story for the island of Krakoa, and that it actually was a bigger island, Okara, and the Twilight Sword split them in two, and so there was 2 islands. This might be that second island, Araco, which would be really cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's going back to like thousands of years ago, crazy stuff with Apocalypse. So
Apocalypse, the original 4 Horsemen, of which, in case you didn't actually read your Marvel 1000 or didn't get it, the original 4 Horsemen, there's a page that was written by Hickman, shows up in there.
Marvel Comics 1000.
Marvel Comics 1000. They obviously are unnamed. It's the very first Horseman. This was at the time when the island was split, and the Horsemen and Apocalypse were basically like imprisoned with the island, Araco. So I think there's much to go on with there. If you've been following any of my speculation on the Knowhere group page, you would know that we were originally discussing that weird language of the island of Krakoa and how it's similar to Knoll. Well, that Twilight Sword, which is the Sword of Suitor, and I'm totally going off the rails on this one, the Sword of Suitor, the Twilight Sword, is very similar to the sword that Knoll uses, which would make total sense as to why the language is the same. You get the Horsemen. There's a reason that Hickman wrote that page in the Marvel 1000. It's not just all coincidence. There's got to be something going on. I might be crazy. I might be right. Who knows? Either way, it's going to be fun to find out.
If he ends up being right, I didn't do that, mind you. But yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot to take in there, and there really is. But that's the thing I love about these Hickman runs. The reason why everyone's loving House of X and Powers of 10. The reason why X-Men number 1 was so amazing is there's so much going on there. And if we get to see more Apocalypse, if we get to see like the first 4 Horsemen, I'm going to be super excited. But one weird thing I'm going to add on this that's not directly related to the contents of the book, there is an alternate cover for X-Men number 2 that is going to be 2099 themed. Because as we go in November, we're going to be relaunching a lot of the 2099 stories, and we're going to have a major Amazing Spider-Man story dealing with that. So the B covers on Marvel books, yeah, I saw Paulino's comment about fake news. The B covers on a lot of the Marvel books are going to be 2099 themed, and it's kind of cool seeing 2099 X-Men, particularly that badass 2099 Namor. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like, it's cool seeing that stuff again. Ron Lim doing the cover is cool.
Were you a fan of the 2099?
I loved Warren Ellis's Doom 2099. That was, I think, my favorite.
I like the Doom.
Yeah, that was a good one.
The rest of them, not so much.
I mean, people love O'Hara. Spider-Man 2099. That's
he's coming back.
Yeah, that's the whole story. So yeah, if you want that stuff, get it in there. Now we're hitting the indie stuff, and I mean, a lot of that once again is just maintaining your orders. If you want to jump on something, give us a heads up. Like Catalyst Prime 7 Days by Gail Simone is going to continue her 7-issue miniseries. Second issue with 2 great covers that were practically the same by Step and Sage, but it's Step and Sage, so they're awesome. We have Cosmo the Mighty Martian, a fun kids hero book coming out from Archie. Dr. Mirage will be hitting its penultimate issue in 3 weeks. Oh, Doctor Who fans, the 13th Doctor is finally getting her holiday special, and this looks like a fun weekly series.
Who collects the action figure variants? Someone must.
Okay, we have a few customers that do. Yeah, it's a big thing. Christopher Tyler does a lot of amazing things, and then there's a lot of knockoffs of Christopher Tyler's artwork.
I
Yeah,
apologize if I insulted you on that. I don't get it. It's not my thing.
Yeah.
But to each their own. That's why they make variants.
yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of great variants coming up. Everything from Life is Strange onward has multiple covers, and if you have specific cover interests, like if you want to make sure you're getting the cover you really want, this is the time to give me the heads up. You go to previewsworld.com/final orders due. You can see all the covers, and you can say specifically like, hey, I like Life is Strange, and while I'm already reading it, I want to get cover B for issue number 10. Or, hey, coming up on I Make Boys Cry, I want cover C, because that one looks awesome. You can say things like Psylords, a great Valiant series that deals with their Psyots, that you want, particularly the Ivan Reyes cover on issue 6, cover B. So this type of information really makes it easy to order. The big one I want to stress, though, you really want to choose your cover on Robotech Remix, because I loved Robotech Remix #1. It was great. If you didn't read it, come in and grab that. Like I can't get over how great Robotech Remix was.
Those covers are awesome. So,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you don't have to pick just one.
Yeah, you can grab all the covers.
I grab almost all of them every time. I'm ashamed to admit.
But yeah, I believe that was really the key books that are coming out now. Though one I do want to point out that's hardcover. Skydoll is one of my favorite comics to have come out of Europe ever. It is just an absolutely brilliant series, and if you've never read it, there's an Ultimate Skydoll hardcover coming out for just $50 that reprints everything Skydoll. It is an awesome sci-fi fantasy series that has anthropomorphic characters, kind of is like a Secret of Nim in space, but brilliant piece that I cannot stress enough everyone should be reading. But yeah, those are the comics that are on Final Order Cutoff. So get your orders in the comments, call us, email us, Facebook message us, or otherwise swing by the store, get your name on that pull list adjustment sheet or special order sheet with whatever you want, whatever covers you want, whatever quantity you want, and we will make sure you get that. Thank you, as always, for joining me, Richard.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for the badass flexing of your awesome comics you got at the signing. And remember, you can always come to our signings. They are listed on our website and Facebook events. We have 2 major ones coming up in November, possibly a 3rd that we're in talks on right now.
The Kanto one's going to be cool.
Ooh, yeah. 2 weeks early, you get a comic 2 weeks before anyone else. Yeah.
But yeah, definitely get in your orders. Bug them like I do. Make sure you get exactly what you're looking for as he knocks over our camera.
Yeah.
And thank you for tuning in. I think this was actually a short one today.
Yeah, we'll see on that. But thank you all for watching. Hopefully
Definitely wasn't an hour and a half like some of them have been.
We'll be back Wednesday with all the new comics that come out next week. Cheers.